Hey everybody, how's it going? It's so good to be back in the closet where I feel safe, protected and stuff. Back in my little corner of the world, my closet office. Seriously, it's a walk-in closet, so I can't make it sound like you know. All of a sudden, when I said that, the REM started playing in my head. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm not even gonna go there or do that. So yeah, so I left Saturday. So I'm not even gonna go there or do that. Okay, forgot about that part. It's weird, especially once you actually do like a hangout with someone. Actually, no, I don't need to screen share. I'm gonna just kind of walk through like some notes and just what I was going to go over, and I'm just gonna. I can see you guys' comments, or if anybody shows up, say hey or do whatever. But I'm just gonna like not screen share right now because it's not necessary, and then it's not distracting me with that optical illusion that gets created. So let me just check my audio levels. All right, all right. Looks like we look good. So, so today is what, May 11th. It's Friday. So, oh my gosh, it's so crazy to think. So literally a week ago, I got home from work. I had done a lot better than I usually do. I didn't leave everything to like the night before to like put together or pack. So I was like running around still this time a week ago, chicken on my head cut off because I had to be at the airport at 4 a.m. Because I had to connect in Chicago and then continue onward to Punta Cana. It was a madhouse. So I didn't even sleep. So then that comes full circle last night. It's like 12:30 and I get off the plane, get my bag, and I'm walking around and I walk out to the parking garage because I decided to just drive instead of take Uber or bug someone and bring me to the airport. The airport's like 30 minutes away from where pretty much most people, myself included, I know live. And I was like, oh, this will be perfect because I have to be here so early. I'm not going to make somebody get up and take me like 3 in the morning to the airport. I didn't want to get a room down there and just sleep nearby and maybe take a shuttle, blah, blah, blah. So I figured it'd be easier. So then I get out last night and I can't find my car. And I'm like, oh, I've never done that before. So, okay, this is also be a list of firsts with this trip. It was my first trip out of the country. You know, I don't feel like trying to, shield my face and manipulate this to show you. But yeah, I'm looking at my passport right now. I got my first two stamps. It's pretty cool. I get the next two next month when I go to the UK. It's gonna be rad. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to that trip even more so now. I don't know. So international travel, like I guess, especially when you're just traveling to like places maybe in the Caribbean that are so like, Western tourist friendly. I mean, I guess I don't know. This will probably apply to a lot of other places in the future too. Um, wasn't too crazy of a trip. Again, but besides the normal type of meow meow meandering, I may just be a little bit more so, and I might be a little more stop starty with my thoughts. I'm not gonna make this too long because I'm actually thinking if I can maybe pull something together, do another quick vid before I go to bed tonight. Maybe I'll just leave that one unlisted. I'll let this because I had a thought on the trip. And you saw I put two little lives up. Maybe it was just one or was it two? I don't know. It was really hard to manipulate in the sun, and I thought I would do a little bit more while I was gone. But you know how it is. You're like away, you're traveling, it's warm, and especially you're not by yourself, which I wasn't. There's not all this time to like kind of break away and do other things. So I didn't really do that. Again, wow, I know I just ran a big circle, but I took a nap when I got home. I actually went to work today. So I didn't want to like waste another PTO day, just to like, I don't know. I probably would have slept all day. Maybe I would have gone to yoga like for an afternoon class, and then I would have like did laundry, gym tan laundry. Ha 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 ha. I actually have managed to do all those. I actually have laundry going right now as we speak. I have not been to the gym or yoga since I've been back. I'm going to go in the morning. But the tanning, oh my gosh. So, I did leave some notes in the description like a couple hours ago when I set this up. Because I like to leave people with a little something to think about. But I wasn't totally sure I was going to talk about. So I got those here. And I got my little notes. I had my little notepad open while I was on the trip. So let's go backwards. So I guess what would probably be helpful is just a quick walk through the whole summary. So left Saturday at 4 a.m. It was rough. Flew to Chicago Midway. Flew Midway to Punta Cana. So we get there, and it's, you know, it was a pretty even kill trip. So you get off at the airport, which is like, okay, fine. No, because I have to screen share with you. Look, I'll like here. Simon says Google or DuckDuckGo or some other cool, you know, web search engine that'll give you a map. You can see Punta Cana's like on the end. So it's Dominican Republic. It's on the more Atlantic end side of the island. So the airport, when you land, this chair is so squeaky. I get a new office chair. It's about a half an hour ride from the airport to like the kind of end where all the resorts kind of bleed off into the beach. So you get in, and it's so funny. So like that was one of my first observations. Like, you know, people talk about, you know, poverty and the inner cities, America, we so poor and blah 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 blah. And it's so funny. Like I was like, well, it was interesting how much a lot of like just like little trash on the ends of the roads, just to kind of like, you know, there was definitely like there wasn't really any graffiti, no, but a lot of the like kind of like building that probably used to be something, or etched out billboards used to be something. Like, I don't know, it had some of those, there were some of those same markers that I usually see like stateside in certain, like, you know, rough parts of town, you know what I'm trying to say here. Um, so that was really interesting. You just really see the thick of it. It's like, I mean, it's just like but then you have to go, well, you think about development and industrialization and all those. I really have to still put this thought together because this really just kind of came back because you really just, you take a shuttle from the airport in, and then depending on what you do, you just stay at the all-inclusive the whole time, basically. Maybe you venture off. We ventured off once, no, twice. We went to like their shopping mall, which is like just like a normal strip mall. There's the thing. Everything, you know, it's an island. Everything has to come in and be imported. So it's weird being at the mall because it's like got stuff. It's kind of like when you go to like a strip mall in America, like one like just kind of like in like those collar community inner ring burbs, like it's like a Dollar Tree, a kind of like half whatever Foot Locker. You know, I mean, it's stuff, but it was just very like, not. But they had an IKEA. We didn't go into the IKEA. I just went to go get a manicure, pedicure while I was there. Because at the all inclusive, they give you a coupon, but they wanted like $130 for it, and it's like, I don't think so. So I paid US $24, which is what, you know, I typically would pay for that anyway here. So did that. So basically, let me finish that point. Just driving in and out, you see, it's a very, I mean, it's just so different. People actually, you know, live and like, you know, live there. You see a few homes, you see a couple of winding roads, a lot of just like, I mean, there's a lot of trees and a lot of lushness, but then there's just a lot of like wood and brick and concrete and little like stores and little places people walk up to get things to eat. Like they're just, it's like everything you would think you usually see in like, you know, some type of photo excursion. I don't know, but you're just kind of sitting on this little like tour bus, kind of, you know, bobbing along to the the place that you're staying. So after that, so we get in and we get to the resort, and you pull up and it's just, you know, I mean, they're all really nice and really grand. Big open lobby. You kind of you see the pools, you see the little like common areas, the bars. You can kind of see the rooms and everything from the distance. So we get there, we get set up. I think most of Saturday was just kind of, I mean, you know, the impulse is just to get up and get out and like be in the sun and be in the water, and everything's so warm. And, you know, with these types of all inclusives, particularly, it was all inclusive that was 21 and older, which I think is a really marked difference because, you know, I love kids, I love children, but, you know, for something like this, you definitely just kind of don't want to be dodging like, you know, people and their kids running here and there and about, which is really nice not to do. And then I think 21 is a nice marker too, because I bet, you know, maybe even, I didn't look, but maybe there in other places outside the US, you can drink by like 16, 17, 18, what have you. And I think that would have been a little bit more of a distinct difference. Either 21, 25-year-olds are pretty, you know, they were, I mean, there was like, it was weird. So like I was traveling with someone significantly older, and I think that since that person, he was leading the check-in, we kind of joke, like, I think they put us on like the more, there's a side, they kind of put more like the slightly older folks, you know, just like people who look like, you know, grown ass people just here to like, you know, chill and keep it quiet and just have a good time. You know, we're not here to like have a mini spring break, woo 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 kind of thing. And but when we ventured over to that side where the pool and stuff was, you can see a little bit more of it. But there's like a little nightclub on site. It's like this little, not like a little room. It's like it's a pretty decent size. They have like smoke machine and all that fun stuff. It's like a little mini ravey dance club or whatever. So we just kind of went in there for like a drink or two and just watched everybody on the dance floor, cut the rug and do all that fun stuff. So then basically Sunday, Monday, I was collapsed in the middle of the trip because all that you really do is you get up, another song's popping. Who sings that rap song? Wake up, drank, faded, drank, whatever that's literally what it made me think of. But that's not. No, that's a fair approximation of like the past like 4 or 5 days. So you get up, have a Bloody Mary in the morning. Okay, so they have a spa on site, so I'd get up, went down to the ocean, did a little bit of swimming. Oh my God, first time salt water. Oh, I didn't know likey. It's really, 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 really weird. I didn't like the taste. I mean, you're not supposed to be sitting there guzzling it, I know, but it gets in there and it's just a little bit strange. So that was kind of weird at first. And man, it was so pretty. I'm thinking if I'm not too, well, maybe I can make this one of my new background photos. I got a couple of snazzy pictures of, the ocean, the waterfront, and all that stuff. Oh my God, that's a weird picture I took. Obligatory room photos. So I'm just flipping through some photos and not showing them to you. I'm sorry. They're all on my phone. I actually got a new phone on this trip, and oh man. Oh yeah, so I'm so tan. It's like ridiculously awesome. Oh my God, he looks so cute. I mean, I like legit tan. It's crazy. And it didn't take much. So like, ooh, breakfast. Okay, the all you can eat. Okay, how about this? Let's just talk about the buffet for a second. Because I mean, ooh. All inclusive booze in the room. Yep. Okay. So drinking is cool. Champagne. I'll do like a really quick list here. Drinking was great. Champagne was good. A lot of fresh juices, that you can have like any time of day. I'm really primarily when I drink, especially at home and just in general, I like bourbon and scotch, not together, but separately, usually just neat. I like wine. I lean pretty heavy towards like, the reds. They make a great sipping, drinking wine, especially like right now, guys. I don't know if you heard that. I just clanked the bottle. So wine person, and then in beer, a lot of different styles, a lot of different varieties, whatever. So that's usually what I drink and how I drink and where I drink. Give me 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. There's something in my eye that's making me crazy. So there's a lot of like, obviously tropical, very fruit, more sugar-centered drinks. So like probably my favorite. Let me see if I can find this and I'll just spell it. Totally spelled that wrong. Come on, Google, help me out. Yeah, here we go. Oh, this is Brazil's national cocktail made with sugar, lime, and cachaça. Assume maybe that's like a style or a version of rum because that's what it was here. I'm not gonna drop the link, but I'll just drop what it is. So that's probably like I drank like probably 1,000 of these because the lime really helps. Really, takes you there. It's really like tasty and tart and good and sweet and all that stuff. The sugar thing was just a little bit heavy. Like I still feel like I'm really decompressing from all the sugar, especially with the sun. I didn't really anticipate that because I don't eat a lot of sugar to begin with, but it was definitely worthwhile. There was this other like mariachi, which I think is just like a little style of a cocktail, a lot of pineapple and coconut in it. What else? So those two things I probably drank near exclusively. Did some of the mango, did some of the strawberry daiquiri, all that type of, jazz and what have you. That was good. The food was awesome. There was like some standalone restaurants that were more like style based. Like there was like an Italian joint. There was a little bit more kind of like a new French, new fusion, kind of like more of these new like small plate type style things. And then the buffet was really, really cool. And it actually would be, I would say the best value also it had such a mix. There were some really funky like things that were more local to the cuisine in that region. Like I wish I got. They didn't really have a good enough descriptor of it. There's like this sliced pork that was chilled, and there was like these diced capers, and then there was a little bit of like I think it was tamarind. No, it could have been tamarind. I could be off. Maybe like it was like the same thing the chimichurri is made out of. That kind of like base. Just a lot of little funky stuff that you know that you don't normally see. A lot of the traditional stuff. I saw there was like pizza, hamburgers, and hot dogs, and obviously I just avoided that because there was no point. So booze, food. Did we cover that? That's important. Oh, then we have the bottle cabinet in the room. There was a really good like local rum to that region that was there. So we went through like a bottle and a half of that in the 5 days. Well, I did because it's like right there. So you get up, go do your thing. Oh, that was one thing I was disappointed about. Not to be like, some type of like whatever about it. Like there's no like the coffee. I thought I guess maybe I made some random assumption that there'd be like really good, really rich coffee. Mostly coming out like those like machines. You got espresso or cappuccino, it was really great, but like no like drip coffee that was like good or anything. So there's that. And in fact, I get such great coffee up here. It just seemed odd not to just get really good drip coffee there. That's not like a slight against anyone or anything, but didn't drink as much coffee as I normally do here. So that covers that. Okay. So I guess if anything, I'll end up like everything else is probably pretty much just anecdotal that'll come full circle. The water was great in the pool. Water was great in the ocean. Let's just jump to the way I already had told you I was going to talk about my little leads to lead you into this, watching this video of me like reliving the past week. So the Spanish language spoken by natives and tourists. I didn't make that's tied to this note I have here. The first thing that I will say that was so funny overall is it was really weird to be around so many Black people. Like, and I mean ethnic, and then obviously just people that vary by nationality too. To be around so many Black people who don't speak English. People who look like you or look like versions along a spectrum of you just because of, people who have like all types of whatever mixture of sub-Saharan African descent. So you're looking at people who look like reflections of you, or like if I were walking around any kind of like, major city up here or whatever that has a fair amount of Black people of different shades, different varying phenotypes all along that same horizon. So, there's this implication, expectation, you can always just go say, hey, or hello, blah, 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 blah. But that was just really jarring at first. Like I remember after like having the normal, like, hi, can I have this or that? Oh, yes, yeah, da, 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 da. And it's like, oh, and it's really someone looks like you, or even looks like, whatever, and they don't speak a lick of English. And, it would be a little bit more befitting if they spoke a little bit more of it, but it was funny. So almost out of all the staff and the people who just kind of like, people who work there, I mean, it's a huge amount of people who work for these types of inclusives who live there. It's insane. The fair amount of Dominicans, they all had like anywhere from like people who spoke complete fluent English all the way down to people who just, can just kind of, point, give you a little this, a little that. Or as we also discovered too, sometimes people are just kind of playing with you a little bit to see, like, no, speaking no English, da 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 da. So we could definitely tell that a little bit of that was going on too. But for the most part, everyone, I mean, that's the funniest thing too. Like this, like what is that thing? Smiling and laughing. Now, laughing and crying are two of the most universal human expressions that outside of like language and any other type of introduction to a person or group, you can tell those two emotions out of like anything without needing to like being able to speak a shared language. So there's things that, and there things that fall beyond that you can still, if you point at something hard enough or kind of, or like what happens at Bell Live, which I would love to ask their perspective, as they probably find funny. So many people with their some K through 12 type of Spanish language, like there's so many loose words that I can pick up. I don't say so many, but enough. Like we were on the bus, and like when you from the airport, and they stop at like one or two of the other resorts along the way, and the guy, like I heard him say, "Oh, to fail," and that's the reason I remember fail means ugly somewhere in K through 12 Spanish. I remember that, and just also the body language and how they were laughing, kind of joking with each other. So just hearing that word and seeing how they were interacting with each other, I could totally tell. So I leaned over to my child companion. I'm like, oh, he just called him ugly. And I just kind of laugh. I'm like, oh, they must like know each other, whatever. So the language thing is very interesting. So that kind of brings you slowly into so there's a lot of the Dominicans who, live there on that part of the island and work there. And then that also splits off into the whole Haitian discussion. Because I guess primarily you have a few of them who come over to work because there was this beautiful, awesome, like really tall, like, and I say this like, I mean, the most, it always sounds like I'm sounding like I'm trying to be slight, but I mean it's in the most fantabulous way. Like she looks like a bird, very tall, very lean, really long neck and long limbs. Just really, really, but she's like probably like a American size 4, if that. Awesome Haitian woman who she spoke 3 languages. So she spoke English, she spoke French, and she spoke Spanish as well. And when we were doing a little spa tour, she was real sweet, and it was just like, oh, I love you. She was such a gorgeous girl. Let's see, where was I going with that? It's specific. Oh, so then that branches off into this point I made about who's the help. So back here at home, we think, Mexicans work in the resorts or back in kitchens, offices, and things like that. But here, it seems like in Punta Cana, just in this experience and where I was, there's pretty much the Dominicans, then the Haitians kind of come over to do some work as well too, but not that much because there's a little bit. I don't think I'm well versed enough, like just discussions I had to really branch off into this. But I mean, people are kind of maybe loosely aware of the island, the history, and the kind of distinctions between those two groups would be. That's a fair enough of assessment. Say there is some difference there. There weren't a lot of Haitians, at least working there officially in official capacities, but at this one place, I'll give you one example of my one experience there. Don't want to be super duper, being an authority on that, but we met the most charming Haitian person there. Side note, so we went to the casino. There's a Hard Rock next door to where we were staying, and we were playing roulette, and we were doing pretty good. And then, actually I won like $80. I just put $5 into a slot machine, and it was awesome because then I paid for like my airport parking like in one fell swoop. And my companion was joking, oh, she's a psychic, da, 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 da. And it kind of looked like, it's funny because they might actually believe that, especially Haiti across the way. So thought he brought some like Haitian voodoo lady over to like charm the roulette table or something. Like maybe we should have said that. A little too close. It's not like some kind of funny joke that we can make up here. I think not some Haitian voodoo doctor, but anyway. Oh, my eye. There it is. My eye really itchy. All right, so continuing on a slight little tangent about the nationalities. There's a lot of people from South America. Like it was so weird. And that's another thing that's weird too. Like people, I think especially here in America, we have the conversation about the Mexicans, swarthy, Guatemalan, Mexican, south of a border to us and what that kind of means. We forget, like, this is actually, it's funny. I was re-listening to I was just catching up with some old like streams and videos from people that I like, and just channels I hadn't been watching since I was pretty much, out enjoying the sun and getting away from my computer for a minute. But I miss all the lovely commenters and content creators here that I enjoy. But I was saying, I was watching, was it Luke Ford? Yeah, and he was talking to someone, and they just kind of breached off into like, America becoming Brazil. And I kept I thought about that quite a few times on the trip because it's, again, another perspective thing. For us, we see white European people. In America, that just means usually white. And, everyone knows, I'm not Sargon of Akkad here, like on the kill stream. Like, I know what white is, has varying degrees and nuances within. But one of the funny things is, like, you could tell people are white, but then they all start speaking a whole bunch of Spanish. Now, not to say that there aren't white Europeans who don't speak Spanish. I know it's almost like a mirror of the jarringness of being a Black American person, being around all these Dominicans and a few Haitians who don't speak a lick of English, and they're all Spanish speaking people. But then, like, someone with blonde hair and blue eyes walks by, and then if I saw them in America, I was assuming they were just some random white person. And then they start speaking a bunch of Spanish too. So then just kind of feeding that kind of just an observation that I had into this general discussion, that was another thing that was a little bit oh, like kind of one of those aha moments. So America becoming Brazil, I get what people mean about that as far as the class mixing, the race mixing. You have like a heavy amount of sub-Saharan black African descended peoples, all the way through the more like European, generationally, Spanish, white European stock. And you kind of see, so in a weird kind of way, you can see how that may or may not operate. I mean, they seem to all manage just, well, no, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm just making an observation in the sense that it was just funny to see kind of like, to almost just kind of stand alongside of it. So like you have these people from Argentina and people from Brazil who are like, very more Euro, maybe somewhere along like the kind of what we would have called octoroon types, and maybe even less than that, to where you think you're just looking at a standard, if I get it, they spoke fluent English and I saw them walking around, I don't know, here someplace. I was, oh, there's just some white people over there. I know that's very limited, but again, understand this is like my new perspective and just seeing this kind of out front. So I'm explaining it the best way that I think I would. But I guess just in closing to that, it was interesting to again be around so many Spanish speaking people who kind of fit all across the racial spectrum, and then just having a kind of way to phrase that. Like, I mean, this is that kind of like their tourist place. And they all seem to, it was interesting because there's all those distinctions, but they all speak Spanish and they speak it all fluently. I mean, I bet there's obviously, from I'm very aware that there's just variations. Like if you're Mexican, people who are from Mexico speak a certain flair, a certain way that's a part more of their culture. Someone is from Spain, someone's in Brazil, etc. So there's a whole, again, a whole nother wave of differences and distinctions amongst that. But it was interesting to see that kind of upfront after that conversation comes as much like America's going to become Brazil. Mm, I don't know. I can't feed those 2 points together, but that's something to consider. It was great. It was an interesting observation considering that discussion comes up a bit. So so besides South Americans, a lot of Russians, and it was really like, all right, it was pretty cool because you think about it, like they're kind of, I mean, they're not landlocked. They have a fair amount of seas and some rivers, but like as far as like big oceanic bodies of water, kind of like island paradise, I don't know the background or anything. There's a kind of a reason they kind of end up there, but there was like half of like all the description, the restaurants or major signs about were written in English, Spanish, and Russian, and even a little bit of I saw like some was it Dutch? A few things are written in Dutch too. So I would say outside of like the Americans and the Canadians, there were a fair amount of Americans and Canadians there. I would say the Russians and South Americans were like predominant there. So like you'd be sitting at the pool or hanging out and you hear a bunch of, because like even though I don't speak anything else, there's things I can pick up. Like I could tell a more Slavic East European language from, I mean, say anyone should be able to, but that's not totally fair. But I can hear quite a bit. So let me step away for one quick second. You want to hear a little anecdote? So we have it's my roommate's dog. And apparently while I was gone, I came back today. He's saying, well, we let him, he goes out, but we have to put him on a leash to take him out now because he's been running just like for 20 minutes, like down across the road. We're like in this little back foresty area. And I know he wants to go out and he's being a little stinky because he wouldn't go when we went out before, and he's in the kennel just because otherwise he kind of runs around. And yeah. And my roommate's like, well, just, we've been out all day, but I just been like feeding him milk bones just because I missed him. So let me go give dog a quick milk bone. I swear I'll be back in 1 second. Milk bone. Milk bone. Sure. Okay. Gotta give freely with the milk bones around here, man. That's what we do. Okay, so interracial pairings. Let's see. Did I spell differences correctly? Okay, that looked really incorrect for a second. Let's see. Would it be helpful to start with one versus the other? We gotta go. No, that works. So the differences among black men and black women travelers. So that was the second thing that I kind of like noticed. So then I told you this is the layout. A lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, some Ruskies, some South Americans, and then there was a fair amount of Black Americans. Like I have to be careful because I didn't get too close to some of them, like to make a full, observation that they were actually Black American. I mean, it could be from other parts, maybe people from Africa traveling, whatever. Don't know, so don't quote me on that one. But I will say like 90% of the ones that I engaged that weren't Haitians, that weren't Dominicans, who were native to the area, were also American visitors. And actually, I could tell, I kept seeing a lot of some similar faces at the airport when we left. So one thing, the first thing I observed, that there was I guess we already outnumber Black men. So there's a whole smattering of Black women there. Most of them, well, it's weird. There was like two groups. There was like groups of like Black women and young girls, like anywhere from like, I saw girls in their 20s and maybe 30s, all the way up to maybe their 40s and 50s or so. And out of those groups, majority of them were like kind of girl groups traveling, like, girls weekend, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And that's what they were, kind of doing. Then there was like more of a couple mixed groupings, like, again, because sometimes you can't tell people are couples, and maybe it's like a brother and a sister and their partner, and so like, again, I can't offer too much because I wasn't walking around like interviewing Black people on my vacation. So I don't know, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of like, either I saw Black women and Black men together in some type of like either friend romantic pairings or just like group of people hanging out, or I exclusively saw Black women traveling in groups with other Black women. So beyond that, to the second point, this is going to seem like an interesting place to go to right away. So you remember I mentioned the club earlier. So we were saying, we just like, I mean, I'm like not. We definitely weren't like this was like where the kids came at night. So we just kind of sat and had a drink and sat on the side, just kind of people watch. We like to people watch. And there's like these two gay Black men. Because one of them, like, it was real obvious. We were kind of like behind him, sitting like on the thing. He was just like doing that little hip sway and kind of like twerking to the songs. And another guy next to him, another Black guy, I couldn't tell if he was gay or not. I was getting that vibe, but I'm not 100%. And then like maybe half an hour later, these girls are like all bouncing around, like these like kind of Latina looking chicks. And then like, it's not like they were twerking. The way guys stand there and the girls like just kind of rub their ass and bounce around. And they were doing that. And the one guy is like, he was obviously gay. So it's so funny. And all of a sudden I had a thought, people go, oh, they always like, dancing up and on at the club with all these like non-Black women all over them. And for a second he was like, oh my God, well, some of them are gay. Like, because I bet you get the best of both worlds. That you get to be like the gay man that women feel safe with, and they can like get a little like slutty thotty on you in the club. And on top of that, like, the cool Black guy cachet, kind of travels over to that. Because like the girls will do like shaking. And it's funny that he was kind of shaking his booty too along with it. Oh, it was funny. And then, so again, back to the Black women. Now, there was mostly a spread. Most of the Black, I would say over 75% were just like normal sized girls. Like, the typical, like, I guess when we think of the phenotypically, the physical type, like, little thick in the hips and the booty, anywhere from like, normal AB up into like a CD kind of bustiness, we span the horizon as Black women. And so there's nobody that like I had to do a double take, no one who looked like painfully anorexic or anything like that. But, and I had to shake my head a couple times thinking about this because I guess that should be my next video. That's when you finally talk about. I should do a whole series on this. So there was this one, and I saw her. We just had gotten there, and we just had our bags, and we stopped to have a drink and just kick it. And I look up, and I see this, and she's like, she wasn't like really dark. She was like maybe think of Raven Simone. She's kind of light, kind of like fair skin, somewhere along that complexion. And she's just waddling. She was a big girl, and I'm like, oh no, like, okay, Black women, anybody listening? Because this keeps coming up in so many Black women circles, and everyone covers it, and we hit it. Maybe I could be the person to really push this, because then that'll really get me in trouble with people. Because this has got to happen, sisters. We got to. And I hate doing this because there's plenty of Black women who don't do this. See, it's so much to unpack, but this is probably why I made a note about to talk about this, and I won't harp on this because this is a video unto itself. So let's just start. She was really, really big, and she was wearing like a shorter dress. Like, everybody dresses more skimpy in these climates. It's like, it's what you do. And she had the short dress on, and she was like huge, and I was like, oh no. And it was, and it's funny, not the only time I ran into her. We ran into her. Well, I ran into her with him, and then later I was by myself, and then I was doing something else and I saw her, but just this big Black woman. Again, not some, typical, like, mammy, dark skin, Aunt Jemima looking chick. Just normal light skin, like probably Raven Simone complexion Black woman. And she was like, she had a kind of curly, kind of like, I don't know if it's like a natural, maybe it's like kind of a curl set. It was just really curly, like, almost like to her neck, really big, bouncy curls. And it's like, that's the saddest thing about it, because you look at it's two things. One, with some people, and this is race aside, and this is male, female too, just some of the extra pounds on people is just enough to where it's like, you just feel sorry for them, because you're like, damn, just a few pounds off, you would just be like, fly. You look really good. And it's just not good for your health, whatever. So that, and then also just like, and it's the Black woman thing. You just hear, and now, you all the way down here, and like, again, like I said, there's a lot of nationalities here. For the most part, fair enough, Americans, Canadians, and South Americans, and like I said, Russian. So you're kind of a quasi international stage, and so that was one half of it, the weight thing. And there was a few. I mean, her and the people she was with, I saw them again later. They were like a little like, it's weird. Black women do this loud, boisterous thing that I pick up on, especially when they're in groups. And sometimes I don't think. Again, this is another. I'm gonna make a note of this, because I want to talk about this too. Because I noticed this with them. They're like, and this is a great example. Like, sometimes we get so boisterous. I mean, I don't do this particularly at all, because I don't have any Black women friends. All my Black women friends live on the internet at this point in my life. It's really weird, but like, so I'm never in any kind of gaggle of Black women ever. But I notice like sometimes we get too boisterous, and it's funny, the things that Black women, especially American Black women, do out in public. I was watching Kristen Carrison's, she had a Pink Pill video about white women's tears earlier, and it made me think of this too, because there's things Black women do that we don't understand, that like Black men have bought a certain social, I keep saying the word cachet because I know what the word loosely means, but I'm not sure if I'm using it completely correctly, because it's just an abbreviation what I'm trying to suggest. Excuse my like loss of semantics right now. I told y'all, feeling fine. I took a nap, but anyway, so we get like a little too like sassy, bouncy, and a little too rambunctious, and it doesn't play for us that well. And then again, like when you're all just in gaggles of Black women traveling, I don't see. I mean, not that everybody has to be married. They can have boyfriends at home. Who knows? The girls' weekend, whatever. But just don't be fat. Don't be overly fat, and don't be overly obnoxious. Don't be goofy. It's like we don't realize how these things just don't play that well for us. Wow. That's a side tangent, because it's something I definitely want to talk about. That's the weight thing. Because it was her, and then there was some other one. Who was that? Oh, now I'm having so many observations of people. It'll come back. Now, don't get twisted. There are a fair amount of fat white people. I mean, because everybody's just like normal, getting down here to like hang out. Nobody's like some model, just at some resort hanging out. I'm not like, maybe if I feel like it, I'll cut it up a little bit. I could do like a side by side. I took two or three of the obligatory bathroom swimsuit photos. And it's the only place I was gonna get any good light. Anyway, I got a few on the beach too. Maybe I'll put some of those up. I don't know. We'll see. we'll see. Can think about getting an Instagram page finally for this site so you guys can see some of the things that I see. Do not sing that. Don't sing that. No, I'm not, because I can't even carry a tune right now. Anyway, so that was one thing. The overweightness. You know, we're out here, and she was like waddling, and it's like, girl, like, come on. It's like it's weird because that's one thing people talk about black. Oh, you know, she'll like, you know, it's I think it's in this book next to me. I'm not gonna go look for it. Like, you know, I think it's actually no. It was it Chris Rock had some old joke like black women should be big as I don't know what, but she'll be like wearing some strappy sandals out here, you know, like. And see, it's weird. We got so we gotten so prized for those like kind of sassy. I'm gonna be big and beautiful. You know, Monique, skinny bitches are evil. That type of like, and like it's so weird how black women thought that shit was so cute, and for a minute it kind of worked. But then again, this comes back full circle. This whole black women just fat and they overweight and they nasty, and these non-black women they so foreign bitches they so fine. And again, like there was Kendall had a video up today, and she made a good point about this. Like black women is not just some blank slate. We've gone along and been complicit about dumb things we should have been complicit about. Like it's one thing to be curvy and to be buxom. You know, Marilyn Monroe famously noted, it's by today's standards is a size 14. You know, it's all proportions. It's all about how you wear it and how you carry it to a large degree. But within certain height parameters, certain people should not be edging towards certain weights. But anyway, that's kind of all I want to say about that. A lot of black men traveling with other black women, and those I saw, two swirl ones. Was that? I know I can certifiably say one. I think the other one that was just the gay guys hanging out with the Latina chicks. But there was a black guy and his white girlfriend there kicking it, hanging out. I would like to say I was there with someone white. So it was me, and I saw some other black chick. I think they were yeah, they were only there for a day. I think they were coming right when we were going, or we were going when they were going when we were coming. And then, I think that's about it. There was like a lot of, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to do a mental head count because I never really kind of came full circle back to that. But most people, most of the black women were kind of with themselves, or there was like a tour group. They were having some little party and they had these like pink bags of things that they were giving out. And yeah, they were American because I went to try to help her because she was trying to figure something out with the microphone. And she started trying to unplug this thing. And I was like, girl, don't do that. You don't be down here like unplugging stuff. Let you cute yourself and hurt yourself. And, you know, anyway. So that was what was interesting. I bet there's probably more to say. But I can't really think of anything at this point. I think I kind of covered what just a summary of the trip. Oh, I need to my last point about sunbathing. So yeah, that was like super awesome. Like it was really fun and freeing. You forget, and you know, like again, it's such a like a weird little. I don't call it international jet setting by any means, but like you know, we were over at a spot, and there was this. Oh my god, this white woman. She looked like a chocolate chip cookie. She was so like, I mean, I was like, well, like my fellow white person gave me a trick. Like people usually go tan before they come down for these things. They have a good base to start with. So they'll just start out. I'm like, there's no way she laid out here all day and got that brown chocolate chip cookie. She almost looked like me. I was like, my Caucasian tan twin, get over here, girl. But yeah. So that was really fun. Like to just kind of lay out. Because, you know, I mean, it is a 21 and older place. You know, it's just boobs. Like, you're like, kind of like, oh my God, like, am I doing this? And there's like kind of like, you know, like that kind of skittishness. Because you used to just be in a place where it's like a public pool or a public beach and there's kids nearby or something, whatever. So that's definitely not the case here. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't just like standing up, like, you know, shaking or nothing like that. It wasn't like bouncing around topless all over the place. But, you know, you just lay down, got your cocktail beverage, sunglasses, sunscreened up, baby. I wore a lot of sunscreen this past week. I mean, and it's definitely noticeable. Didn't burn in one spot. I just figured it'd be safer to do just to play it easy, you know, from like, yeah, the upper Midwest. Like, don't get a lot of sun up here. and we only get it for like 3 months hardcore out of the year if and when you're in it. So I didn't take any chances. Did the whole shebang bang, head to toes. And so yeah, I laid out, just kind of like scooted the like swimsuit down, right to the waist. Just kind of lay there, flip, lay there, flip, lay there, flip. It was interesting. I'm very pleased. Everything is nice and chocolatey brown. Especially because my tummy and my chest never get it. That's why I really wanted to lay out. So I did that, and it was swell. So I think I'm at 45 minutes, and if I can pull together a couple thoughts, maybe I'll come back with something else. It's still the night's still young for me. Yeah, I just I got my nap in, feeling a little bit back to normal after my little whirlwind vacay. Yep, and I get right back on the saddle because I got a trip coming up next month. So yeah, I'll just leave it there. If I have anything else to add, I'll add it later. So nude sunbathing, cool. Everyone should try it. Embrace the sun. I feel really like nice and like I don't know. I like it when especially in the summer, I get a little bit more of a tint. Like I feel more like brown and like luscious. I feel like even as like I was born with the perfect base tan as a black person, but in the summer, especially being from a colder climate where you don't get a lot of sun, I like the way I look in the summer with a little bit more sun on me. It's just kind of like crisp brownness. I'm really digging it, and yeah, it was really fun to like lay out in the sun like everybody else does. Um, Interesting travel people from all over. Fair amount of Black Americans. Everybody was pretty chill. Got a couple stares, I told I'm really tall. And I was being accompanied by an Aryan Kang the whole trip, who's actually taller than me, which is really funny because I guess the only thing now, like maybe I'll just reflect on that and to kind of come back with a few little tidbit anecdotes. Like people just kind of don't know what to expect. And like I said, like there was like, no, no, because it was just that one Black woman and that white guy who left when we were coming. And then there was like this Black man, this white woman. They were there kind of like during most of our stay that we just kind of saw in passing. Um, it's funny, Crystal and her like white women kind of like the way Black women need to learn how to interact. It's funny, there's things I never really thought of, but like there's like so we met these two girls and they're like that's like mid to late 30s, almost 40, and they were just on a girls trip and they were white. I think they're from Florida. And my travel companion is always like really fun and like wants to help people and let's help ladies take pictures and stuff for her. Oh, because she saw me because like we were all going down in the beach. She's like, "Oh, your girlfriend's over there just letting it all hang out." And it's funny because then he told me later like, her tits are fake, right? I'm like, what? He's like, no, they don't just sit like that. I'm like, no, they weren't like big like Pamela Anderson, like but like when I thought about it, when I saw them again, I'm like, huh. But it was like a nice, perfect, like BC cup, like they're sitting there doing their thing. So I don't know, was it shade or no? Because like I'm busty and they don't look like fake boobs. They like look like real, actual like human breasts, like human breasts. What does that even mean? Why? What does that even mean? I don't know. Again, a little delirium set in, and so where was I going with that? Gosh, maybe I need a second nap. Maybe I need 10 naps. Observations of how people kind of like perceive us. Because like he was just like people should other people are thinking like you're like my like because like sometimes like because if you're somebody like traveling with like someone that's significantly younger as a man, and the whole like is that your daughter type of thing. Well, that's like unless there was some alternate kind of fantasy universe, that's impossible. Nobody's going to assume that about like us because we definitely don't look anything racially alike. But it's obvious that I'm significantly younger than he is. So I could tell that might have been a play. And also we're both very tall people. I can tell you I'm 6'2", and he's taller than I am. So that was kind of interesting. Being he's like tall, this giant ebony and ivory, couple like wandering around. I wore heels this weekend, y'all. I wore heels. Say my legs were kind of killing me a little bit because I don't do it enough. Because again, I'm already tall, but like you can make a statement like on a trip like this. When I travel, I'll sometimes bust them out, and they're comfy heels, like 3 inches, nothing too crazy. So then I'm wearing heels. We're almost eye to eye, so like we're really ginormous and looking all fly and stuff as we travel. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna give myself a rapid fire. 3 last things I'll say in this cast. I'm gonna hit stop broadcast. I think maybe tonight we start an uncomfortable subject and I can just free flow off of this. I'm gonna go have a smoke, go check on Doggy Dog, see if he wants to go out. He wants to listen and put his leash on because now he has to go out on a leash because I don't want this dog running like away. Oh, when they hit their teenage years, it's so tough. Okay, one. Met a British guy who like worked with one of the travel groups there. He was super cool. He's like, I don't want to say he's an expat or not. I guess you kind of have to say that. So he said, yeah, he's a kind of an expat. He's married to a Dominican woman. He had like 3 or 6 kids or something. And he said, my dad's friends with Pete Hook. I'm like, no way. And that's we talked about Joy Division, the Smiths, and Morrissey, and that was really fun. 2, so my travel companion is a real sweetheart, and when he does, he brings candy. Because especially an island like that, everything's in pesos, things cost a lot, everything has to be imported with it being an island. One of the nicest things you can do, and just to show people, take care of them besides tipping, he brought this whole big thing of like just American, like good American, like Fannie Mae candy down. So we ended up giving that out like to like staff and people working at different places doing things. So we just carried around candy. We kept it cool in the fridge most of the time. We knew we were going to go to a certain place or do certain things. We just started dishing out candy to like the staff, the desk, and people like that. It's a nice little extra thing to do. People remember you. And such a place like that where like they don't really, they get stuff, but it's not like, they don't get like a good American stuff that we get without it costing a pretty penny. It's nice to see, brighten people's faces and brighten their days. Now, I know I put in the title Colorism. I wasn't trying to clickbait you or anything into this like discussion. I guess I thought that like discussion, like the difference between like, the more lighter, fair skinned Dominicans all the way to the more people who look more phenotypically full, if not almost entirely sub-Saharan black. Is there a difference at play? Interesting enough, I bet there is, and I could tell that there is, in terms of like media and advertising, just what people gravitate towards. But the funny thing is, I think in the American sense, the way we talk about it here, you know what? We're at 52 minutes exactly. I'm glad I started watching things in this little bubble. So I'm gonna hit this really hard, real quick, and I'm gonna close out on this note. So I kept thinking, we talk about this all the time in the kind of BWE, Blick Towel, Black women sector here online a lot. And I had a thought, well, it seems like it's easier. Well, I kept thinking as an owner, it's easier here or worse because you can tell that like maybe the more fair skin, more like the people more down the middle, exotical types versus because again, well, that's also the thing too. Haiti's one side, Dominican Republic's the other, and that's one thing I wondered. Does it have anything to do with it? Is it because Haiti's a little bit more French, derived culturally, whereas Dominican Republic's a little bit more Spanish cultural derived? Could that play a little bit of a difference in how race, color, and ethnicity kind of play with each other? Again, I can't make this type of estimation after like 4 days of visiting an all-inclusive resort in a foreign country like this. So I definitely will not be making any assumptions like that. But that was something that kind of came to mind as well. Yeah. So is it easier? I always want it's like I think it's easier or harder for us. At least you kind of know where things shake out. Everyone speaks Spanish. It's not like a big, I mean, there's not 22 million people. Well, no, maybe combined across both the whole island itself. Who knows? But is it easier when you just kind of know where the rubber meets the road? And also because, interesting, there you go. Is it also different because it applies to the men too? There's not this type of like dual tiered kind of system here where the darker the black man is, that means one thing, the lighter the black woman is, that's another. I mean, for them, then the hair texture thing kind of came with like people, the kind of little curly swirly Spanish hair on the men and the women. So it's almost like, is it easier or no difference or harder? with them versus us because it's something that applies across the map racially in terms of how they look and maybe what type of imagery is more pushed. But then you have to imagine like darker skinned people across the world talk about their feelings of otherness. You go to parts of Asia, Northeast Asians versus like more Southeast and what have you. So you have you have this color discussion you have in the goddamn subcontinent of India. You have it everywhere. So it's not exclusive to Black people. It's not exclusive to people of African descent. But does it make it easier in a place like this potentially where it's applying to the men as well and the women, just in terms of what may be considered more fair or more do they have that good hair discussion, or is it just seems like more of a thing that kind of is, but again you aren't really getting a complete understanding of it because you're like in a resort. You're not interacting with people day to day on the street, how much difference that makes, etc. So I just kept thinking that, like, is that a difference too here? Anyway, that might be a little bit better to pick apart in some other way, shape, or form. So I'm just gonna leave it right here for right now. So that's just my random summary video on my trip to Punta Cana this past week. Interesting, fun, hot, got in the ocean, did some great swimming, sunbathed, drank a lot of really fun, like a lot of fruity, tasty, lime heavy, fresh fruit based, great cocktails. Enjoyed some really great food. Probably ate a little bit more than I should, but it was totally worth it. I stuck pretty much 90% to my like no carb, low carb. It was like every morning was like bacon and eggs, like super like very Atkins style breakfasts and all that fun jazz. So pretty proud of that. Had a great time. It's good to be back because I have another trip to prepare for. It's actually going to take a little bit more mental energy on my part, but I'm excited. Yeah, it's 11:30 for me right now. So then I'm gonna shut this off and maybe I'll come back live, or maybe I'll just come back with something to say and I'll just upload it to the wind. So thanks for listening. Should be getting back on a pretty normal schedule now. And I'm gonna try to also, and watch me say this, is really kind of cut back and just do some much more single serving topics, like 15 minutes tops, 20 minutes tops, just so there's some more digestible material there. I've noticed some people that I really like here are making more, they're hitting so many great things in like 15, 20 minutes. Like, I can do that. It'll be a good challenge for me too, because I think more people would maybe stop to listen and take a gander. Even people I love, sometimes I can't do an hour and a half or 2 hours, or I have to break it up in so many pieces. Sometimes I don't make it back, and I don't want that to always be the case here. But I think the next 3 weeks are just, between now and the next big trip, are just going to be kind of like rolling with the wind. So I'm going to try to implement that a little bit further. And anywho, I'm just going to let this go now because I'm doing my thing where I'm like two-stepping towards the door, two-stepping back in, two-stepping back towards the door, two-stepping in. So let me get out of here. Thank you for listening. It's good to be back. Good to be back. And I'll catch you soon.